I'd been watching him for a long time. Aiden, 24 years old, a quiet accountant in a sleepy coastal town. His life is a fine-tuned machine, each day similar to the last. Morning coffee, a leisurely walk to the office, figures, reports, a light lunch in the same cafe, an evening in front of the TV. He is like a part of the landscape, indistinguishable from other houses and streets. He is surrounded by loving people, family, friends, who see him as reliable, stable. They are proud of him. Their Aiden is their pride, their peace of mind. There is also Lily in his life, a sweet girl he has been dating for a few years now. Their relationship is like a quiet harbor, without storms or passions. They look in the same direction, in the future where there is a cozy home, children, a peaceful old age. They are both content, or at least it seems so. Everyone around them seems to approve of their union. Aiden feels this weight of expectation, the weight of obligation he carries on his shoulders. He is their pillar, their guarantee, and he doesn't want to let them down. But beneath this mask of quiet well-being lies something else. In the depths of his eyes, there is sometimes a spark, something akin to longing, a desire to break out of the ordinary. He keeps an old notebook in his desk drawer, its pages scribbled with poems full of longing and dreams. Or maybe he secretly draws sketches full of colors and fantasies that he doesn't show to anyone. These are his little secrets, his secret hideaway where he can be himself, albeit briefly. These secret impulses, like faint rays of sunshine through dense clouds, break through the gray routine. They show that behind the outward submissiveness lies a soul yearning for something more, something that makes the heart beat faster and the blood boil. And this feeling, like a quiet whisper of the wind, gradually begins to gain strength. And then, in a series of monotonous, everyday life, as if a ray of light breaks through the clouds of everyday life, a chance find. Aiden, going through old newspapers, comes across an advertisement, a contest for aspiring writers or perhaps artists, for his soul longs for canvas and paint, or pen and paper. It's not just an announcement. It's like a spark falling into the dry hay of his long-forgotten desires. Something he has suppressed for so long is awakening inside him. A dream of another world, of recognition, of being able to create. He begins to see his life not as a closed circle, but as a canvas on which he can paint whatever his heart desires. But this sudden passion creates an internal conflict. On the one hand, a cozy haven of familiar life, where everything is predictable and safe. On the other is the tantalizing unknown, full of risk and opportunity. He anxiously tries to share his new thoughts with Lily, but her reaction becomes a cold shower. For her, his dreams are childish, a dangerous illusion that could destroy their well-established life. This conversation is like the first alarm bell, warning of the possible consequences of his choices. And then Aiden begins to secretly work on his project. At night, when the city falls asleep, he immerses himself in his world of creativity. He hides his sketches and manuscripts from prying eyes, creating an atmosphere of tension and mystery around him. With each passing day, his preoccupation grows, consuming him completely. He becomes more and more distant from his usual reality, from his former life, from the people he loves. His inner world is transformed, but outwardly he becomes more and more withdrawn and aloof. This estrangement, this tension between his dreams and his reality begins to create a crack that seems to threaten to split his life in two. And this is only the beginning of his journey, filled not only with hope, but also with imminent loss. The tension in the air thickened with each passing day. Aiden was torn between two worlds like a wounded animal. He could no longer wear the mask of ordinariness, hiding the storm of creative impulses beneath it. The decision ripened like a fruit ready to drop. He had to tell. He had to open up. Gathering his courage, he told his family and friends about his participation in the contest, about the dream that had lived in his heart for so long. But instead of support, he faced a wall of incomprehension. Their eyes, full of anxiety and fear for his future, spoke louder than words. "Why would you want to do that? You have a stable job, Lily. Our peaceful future," resounded in every voice. The criticism, like an icy wind, blew through him, making him hesitate. But the hardest blow came from Lily. Her eyes, once full of love, now blazed with resentment and disappointment. She felt betrayed, overshadowed by his sudden passion. Her ultimatum sounded like a verdict. It was either her or his dreams. The words had stabbed into his heart like blades. Aiden was at a crossroads where every step threatened to hurt. He struggled between his sense of duty and his thirst for fulfillment. Emotions raged like a storm, tormenting his soul. But deep in his heart, despite the torment and doubts, he knew he could not betray himself. A painful rupture followed. Loneliness weighed heavily on him. He felt misunderstood, rejected by those he loved. Doubts like snakes coiled around his mind, whispering about the wrong choice, about the price he had paid. But even through the shroud of pain and disappointment, his dream continued to burn like an unquenchable beacon, pointing the way forward. He had made his choice, and there was no turning back. He was alone with his aspiration, ready to go all the way, no matter what. And in this loneliness, in this struggle, the sprout of a new, hitherto unknown strength was breaking through. Soon after Aiden left the familiar comfort of the coast, his life plunged into a whirlpool of completely new sensations. The big city met him not with open arms, but with the cold indifference characteristic of metropolitan areas. Competition at the contest was fierce. Each participant seemed to breathe the fire of ambition. Financial difficulties, like a shadow, haunted him, forcing him to save on everything. Loneliness, a previously unfamiliar feeling, became a constant companion, enveloping him in the evenings when the noise of the city subsided and only he was left alone with his thoughts. He felt lost, a small cog in a huge machine, and fear permeated him like a cold wind. But in spite of all this, there was hope in his heart, like a spark that could rekindle a flame. Amidst the turmoil and chaos, he met people who, like guiding stars, illuminated his path. They supported him, inspired him to do new things, shared their stories, and helped him feel part of something bigger. As he worked on his project, he changed. The timid accountant gradually turned into a confident creator. Every sleepless night, every written sheet, every sketched image tempered his character, making him stronger and more independent. There were moments when, as if through a fog, he saw his past life. Memories of Lily, of warm evenings by the sea, of friends with whom he had shared simple joys, came flooding back to him, giving rise to doubts and regrets. He wondered if he had done the right thing in choosing this path, the path that had brought him here, to this cold and foreign city. But as he looked back, he realized there was no turning back. He had to follow through to bring what he had started to its logical conclusion, no matter how hard it was. He worked on himself, honing his talent, developing his skills, and with each new iteration, he believed in himself and his project more and more. His work became more and more mature and expressive, feeling his inner fire, his passion, his pain, and his hope. The completion of the project no longer seemed unattainable, and there was a feeling in the air that his work could be appreciated, that all his efforts and hardships could be rewarded. But, as we know, recognition does not always guarantee victory, and sometimes, even if you achieve what you want, it can bring unexpected consequences. And this is where the question arises: what if the price for the dream turns out to be too high? The day has come when all bets are off and the air is electrified with anticipation. Aiden, despite his thorny path and internal contradictions, stands on the threshold of his triumph, and determination burns in his eyes. He enters the stage, and every gesture, every word invested in his creation, like a cry of the soul, bursts out. The audience freezes. The jury scrutinizes his every movement. At this moment, he is not just a contestant. He is the embodiment of his dream, and this feeling permeates his every cell. At the end of his performance, he feels devastated, but also incredibly satisfied. The announcement of the results becomes a climax of tension. Aiden doesn't hear his name among the winners, but a wave of recognition and admiration sweeps over him. His work, full of passion and sincerity, has not gone unnoticed. Offers of cooperation, flattering reviews, all this confirms his talent, but does not bring unconditional joy. At that very moment, like a lightning strike, he realizes that the price he has paid for his success has been exorbitant. His mind flashes back to Lily, her sad eyes full of incomprehension, the faces of his family when he announced his decision, the empty seats at the table where his friends used to gather, and his heart squeezed with longing. He has achieved what he dreamed of, but there is not an ounce of the same joy in this victory. He realizes that you can't sit on two chairs, that every choice has consequences, and his path to his dream has left ruins behind him. Emotions overwhelm him. He feels both pride and guilt, triumph and bitterness of loss. He stands on the summit, but his eyes are fixed on the abyss gaping beneath him. He has realized that you have to pay, sometimes very dearly, for your dreams. And his story, full of passion and contradictions, is just one of the possible paths where there is room for both ups and downs. But what happens next when the echoes of this choice fade? Time, like a river, carries its waters, and Aiden, once a timid accountant from a coastal town, is now a very different man. The city lights have become his new sky, and the silence of the office has been replaced by the hum of creative workshops. He became what he had always dreamed of being, a writer whose words resonate in the hearts of readers, or a painter whose paintings make you think. His talent blossomed like a flower breaking through the asphalt. But even in this triumph, he has not forgotten his past, the small town where his roots remain. He had returned to try to reconnect with his family, with his friends, but things were not the same. The chasm of misunderstanding that had lain between them the day he'd chosen his dream seemed insurmountable. They looked at him with admiration and wonder, but there was resentment in their eyes. Aiden realized that time had changed not only him, but them as well. He had met new people, seekers like himself, with whom he shared a common passion for art. But even in this new life, among new faces, he could not forget about Lily. Her image haunted him like a shadow, reminding him of the price he had paid for his dream. Eventually, he came to the realization that he had made the right choice, that his path, though thorny, was his own. Still, this victory came with a taste of bitterness. He realized that not everything in life can be fixed, that some wounds remain forever. He realized that sometimes you have to make sacrifices for your dreams, but it's important to remember those who were once near and dear to your heart. His story didn't end in triumph or a full reunion. It was left open like an unfinished painting, hinting that life goes on, and he is still searching for a balance between his ambitions and relationships. He has learned that following a dream is important, but it is even more important to appreciate those who were there for him, who loved and supported him even when the choice was not in their favor. His journey is not only a story of upsurge, but also of loss, pain, and the search for what really matters. And there is a special beauty in that search. His story is not over yet, and there is another aspect of this journey that needs attention.